So we are going to talk about what you need to do to turn your paper programming project from paper onto a Google slide. So what you're going to need to have open today on your computer screen is at least 3 tabs. You're going to need one tab where you're going to open it to your slides. And in slide, you're going to create a blank one. And when you do that, just I'll go through all of this in just a moment, but you can close out your theme. Another tab, you're going to type in the words remove background, remove BG. So this is what it looks like when you open it, because I'm going to show you how to take away backgrounds on photos for the project you're doing. And I'm going over that right now. And then the third tab is going to be just Google tab, where you're going to be searching photos. All right, so now we've got all of our tabs. I have some additional tabs to show you what's going on. So I showed everybody this project originally from my student from a year ago. And then she was laying out her game. Choose your character. This was her key to explain things. This is where she had notes for her commands, her introduction or instructions, and then her first level. I have got two that I'll show you with mine. This is what we started in third period. I needed some multiple slides for things. This is where we started in sixth period, so I got a little extra information, so like what I'm going to have you do. The goal is that we will go from this screen that I'm circling with the mouse and cursor to an actual game in Scratch. So I am going to start now. I'm here. So what we're going to do is kind of close out where it says themes over here. And then we're going to click into this box, find a corner, backspace, get rid of these text boxes because we don't need them. We're going to be creating our own. So just like when we created our About Me Google slide presentation, we're doing that here too.
There we go.
How do we take it off?
Everyone should have their paper program that they started sketching out the last couple of days with you. So what we're going to do now, think about your project. What is your theme? Everybody should have some kind of theme. We've been talking about adventure games. We've been talking about candy games. Ms. Dunn always likes to do a lot of something with space. Think about your theme. What would your background look like? What color would it be? Do you need a space thing? If it's candy, you're going to probably want some kind of light colored candy-ish kind of shade for a background, unless you're doing Halloween candy and you've got Halloween stuff, you might want something darker. But we're going to create, you need your background. You know what, I think I'll do this in a candy game. I'll do this one different than what I normally do. So I'm going to do my background. I'm going to do a gradient. I'm going to do this orange one. I never do orange. I think that's a good candy color.
Let's go to the image.
Well, if you do an image, I'm going to say yes, unless it's an image that takes away from your information. So pull up your image and we'll see how it looks. Now, I'm going to use this for the majority of my slides. All right. Now, one of the things you got to think about is stuff that you need on your slide that you're going to always need and you might need to delete. My example would be this would represent a background just like we would have in Scratch. But
This one?
This is, what do we see here?
Now, since I'm using a solid color, not a background, you'll do yours a little different. I am going to click over here in this tiny slide picture where I have a dark gray frame, so it's orange. You have darker, and I'm going to do Control C and then Control V, and so that way I have two of them. Now, if you use an image that's based on what your background is, and I'll show you right now an example. Let's pretend this is my image in here. let's say I've got something like
Does anybody want
space.
this, picture?
This will be okay if I'm gonna do this as my title page and my introduction. But when it comes to everything else, I would need to have solid one, okay? So if your introduction, you're gonna use something like this, that's fine, but you're gonna need a color for everything else. I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm just gonna kind of use this one. I'm gonna make more copies in a moment, but we're just gonna do this right now. Your very first slide, that is the slide that is gonna have your game title, your game information, and your introduction. That's probably gonna need a button that the player can click to move to the next background or the next scene, all right? But we gotta create that. So to do that, I'm gonna click this little text box, draw my box, and I really don't have a name. I kind of have an idea what I can do since I said I'm gonna make this a candy adventure game or something. But all you have to type is the words game title, because you can come back and change that and put it. You just need, this is your note on here. This is my game title. I need to add something later. Also, if this is your game title, you need to have some kind of introduction or a background. And I don't mean a background like we have a background on here. It's a background story. Let me say that. Miss Duncan spell. So, a background story. So I'm going to show you an example of that from another of my classes. So here's my background story. And this is just very iffy. So this game was going to be called Space Invaders, Save, something kind. I wasn't sure exactly on my title, but I'd kept my note that I need game information or backstory. So I started out, the year is 3031 and the life on Earth ended the way we knew it years ago. People now live on a spacecraft with other friendly alien species. You need to help the space army protect the last survivors. So this tells you what the game's going to be about, basically, right? You may not have that right now. That's like trying to put everything together about in a small story for your game. You don't have to have it at this moment. All you need to worry about is that you need to have an introduction and a story. If you've already mapped that background information out on your paper where you were putting down ideas, you can take your time to type that in today. Another thing I would need is a way for them to click to the next scene. So just like in my other sample, I had an arrow. I'm going to insert. You can do shapes, and they have arrows. And you can draw an arrow. Make the arrow any color you want, any size. And we can, I'll show you like doing this. I'm gonna make it white, not silver. And then I'm gonna have to do a text block, a little text box to go over it that says next, because you gotta tell them what to click. And I can just bring that right there.
What does it say? Because it's so little, I can't see it.
So whatever I decide to do for my next button, maybe it's gonna be like that. Of course, if I click it in the Google slide, it's not going to work, but it's telling me I need to have that. That's going to have to be one of our sprites. Maybe you don't want an arrow. Maybe you'd rather have a button. So maybe, you want a circle. And you could put a little arrow in it. But whatever it is, your little symbol, something that tells them to go to the next, where they have to go. It gets them to the next scene. Maybe you want to come up here to insert on images, search the web for, I don't know, just typing in click here button. I'm going to look for an image. Maybe you want something like this. Well, if this pulls up. We'll see how that looks. You can even do something like this. You can make it fit. It could be in a corner. It could be in the center. It's wherever you want them to click to go to the next scene. So this is something, whatever you use, is going to be the same on every screen. So this one I know I need to put like a game title and an introduction, a background. Another thing you would probably want playing here would be music. A lot of video games have some kind of background music, don't they? So that's something you're going to want to think about because we have to code the music into it. So you know what that is. I'm not that I'm saying you know what that is. This is the way to let you know. So that's what you're looking at for your very beginning. So then after they read all this and like, ooh, I want to play this game, they're going to click here or they're going to click next or move forward. Any way you want to tell them to go to the next scene is what it's going to say. That is part of you as the creator. So I'm going to look at my next slide here. I went ahead and copied my click here, and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to kind of get ahead of myself a little bit. It's the right size, but I'm going to click over here. So on the far left side where my mouse is circling with the cursor, and I'm going to control C again, this second slide, and then control V, like 2 or 3 times. I want to go ahead and have some slides that have the click here, but if I don't need it, I can delete it. Does that make sense? Because this here, I know I'm going to delete it, but I wanted to have that. Then I don't have to try to always copy that button. So it's the same, because it's got to be the same each time. And you may not need that many. But after they see the introduction, oh, I just thought of this. Instead of saying click here, it could be start. It may be just your start button. So that is up to you. And just because you do it right now on this slide doesn't mean it is set in stone. That is still something you can change, okay? Now what you'll do on your second slide, that's where you got to decide what are your characters. Have you already kind of sketched something up? Have you written something down? Have a little bit of an idea? And then I'm going to show you how we're going to find those characters when we Google stuff. And then we're going to put them in here. You're also going to have to tell your players they got to choose a character or choose a player. Select your player. Think of how you wanted to say it. There's not going to be a wrong way. So choose your player. Select your character. Pick a winner. I don't know. You play a lot of video games. What does it say to you whenever you're going to choose a player? If that's an option in your game. I know in Minecraft, it says choose one, and they have Alex and they have Steve. Right? Is it Steve? Yeah. Do you choose one of them? And when you click on it. So you got to think about that. So select your player. That's pretty important. So you're going to want to highlight it. You're going to want to make it larger. You change it right up here with the increased font size. You can come over here to the font. You got a lot of fonts to look at. This is how you make it interesting. Think about the style. Think about the color. Think about where it's going to be located. When you slide something like a text box or images around in Google Slides, it'll tell you when the center is. It gives you a red line for the center. You've already got something else that gives you a vertical, horizontal line to do stuff. So this is aesthetics. This is the beginning of what makes your game pleasant to the eye, that adds to the reason someone wants to play. So that's based on your title, what the game is about, what's the one thing. So select your player. Now, when I did this on my game of Scratch, I did it as a sprite, and it would flash colors. You can think of things like that, and down here in your speaker notes, you can make that note. You might want to say, make the letters flash. Maybe different colors. Maybe you want to make them spin and stop. Think about what you want it to do. If you're not sure, don't worry about it yet. You'll have options. Okay? But right now, unless you come up with something really, really crazy, we will be able to figure out how to code it. So don't worry about that. Don't limit yourself thinking, oh, I'm not even going to do it, because there's going to probably be a way we can try it. So you're going to put in your characters here. We're going to choose. And I'm going to pause everything so everybody's kind of working on this. Now, if you don't want to have 2 characters to choose from, then you can always say, click on the player to begin. Player or character, because you're kind of the player. So it could be click on the player character to begin. I might say choose your character, but we're going to be clicking on, they're going to have to click on one. So this click here, I'm going to delete that because I don't want them to click there. So click on the character to begin. I'm going to still keep mine. What am I going to say? Click on the character to begin. Let me say click on. You can say.
When you open the email, you're going to see the little down on the bottom.
Do the character. Click to begin. This is where you're going to kind of think of it yourself. How do you want to say it? Choose a character. I'm going to say just choose a character. Actually, I think I want to say click on your character. Click on your character choice. I like that. Click on your character choice.
When you open my.
Click on your character. No, I didn't spell that right.
You click on the sheet, you have to download and put out your drive.
You said I'm having a hard time spelling today.
Like this.
All right, so right now, before you get into anything else, I'm going to show you how to, when you Google search an image for something, you can remove the background. And then you're going to go to work on things yourself. All right, so let's go to one of your Google tabs and just Google something. I'm going to Google, this up earlier. All right, you're going to Google the image that you are looking for. I don't know if this is going to work. All right. I'm looking for single pieces. You don't. This is how my game is. You're going to Google, oh, I need a character. You're going to Google what character you want. Cartoon Ghost. I'm trying to decide because I'm thinking about doing Halloween candy. I don't know. I need something that's going to, I don't know, cartoon kid. You might also want to, when you Google search your image, type in JPG or PNG so you get an actual image. All right. Well, I'm looking for characters. I need characters. If I'm going to do a candy one where they're picking up candy, oh boy. This is not drawing. Let me see if I like these. Oh, they're drawing. Maybe I don't want a kid. Let me look at the pink. Alright, I'm just going to It doesn't matter what my character, who's picking up candy. I can have anybody pick up candy, so this is going to pick up my candy. So I have my image here. Now, over here in this other tab is my remove background. I don't want all this white because if I just copy this and put it in here, watch what happens. I got this big white square, so I don't want that. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to drag my image all the way into the other tab, and I'm going to wait for this to change to drop the image here, and then I'm going to drop it. And what it's going to do, it takes away that entire white background. And then the best thing to do is to download it and save it in a file in your Google file, like in a folder, so you can use this in Scratch. When you get this here and you're looking at the name that's highlighted, it says iStock photo. It's got all these numbers and stuff. You're going to rename it. I'm going to rename it Dinosaur. It tells you the style of the file, and that's a PNG image. That's a type of image file for photos. It's one of many. It could be a PNG image. It could be a JPG image. And that's what you're looking for. A PDF or a DOC or TXT is a document file. And you don't want a document file because we're doing images. But I'm gonna change this name first and call it Dinosaur. And I have a photo folder I already created here called Game Photos, which would be good if you do that in your Google folder, because you guys have access to go straight into your Google Drive. So you can save that. And then I'm just going to click Open, and then I'm going to click Save again, and it's going to be in with my other stuff, and it's right there. But for now, I can just copy on this image, click on it, save it, copy it, go in here. I'm going to paste my dinosaur right here. Paste. Paste without formatting is something you use if you're pasting specific text into something or into another document. So that's one of my characters. Now I need another character. Who's got the suggestions for Miss Dunn for her other character? What should I do? We got a dinosaur. What can I do? Just for fun, let's just do a dog.
Like a peacock?
A peacock? Let's see if we can find any cute peacock pictures. Oh yeah. Let's see, which one do I want? I kind of like to have the side view in case I want to be able to flip it. Let's see, they're all kind of the same. They look very familiar. Now I want to find one that doesn't have these watermarks on it, and that looks like really faint writing. Like on this one right here, it's a watermark. They've got that set up to where it's not going to come off because that's something you probably have to pay for. So we're looking for one we don't have to pay for. So I could. I'm going to scroll back up a little. So I'm looking for one without. I like this one, but he doesn't look like he's actually catching anything. Well, that's okay. I like that one. I'm going to click on that one. That looks good. I'm going to drag it up to my remove background. When it pops in, I'm just going to drop it. It's just going to replace the dinosaur. And you can see where it removed the background. Considering this has got a black outline, it makes it really clean and easy to, oh, wait a second. I just noticed something. Look right here. It says color box right across the center. It's watermarked. If you don't care to do that, I don't want one that's watermarked. So it's not a really true free one because it's got that on there. I didn't even notice that. Oh, I should have. It's right there. All right. This one looks a little fuzzy. That's why I wasn't going to do it. He's kind of silly. I'm just going to do that one. I'll make sure he's not watermarked. I don't think so.
Miss, what does watermark?
Watermark is the way you mark an image so someone else can't copy and use it. It's real faint. A lot of companies will do that, and if you want a copy of that photo without it being watermarked, you pay for it. So we're just looking for something free. We're not trying to, we're not getting into a big business where we need to buy something. So here, right here, see, it even says free vector style. I got to change the name. I don't want it to say, have it all those words. It needs to just have a simple name, and I'm already in the same folder I did last time. And now the great thing is I can copy this image, come into my project, and paste it. And then you're just going to make sure they're about the same size. You want it, everything to kind of work because you don't want them to be too ginormous. You're going to need to name them. You're going to have to think about, are you going to, this is where you're going to put your information, things like that. Like, we'll talk about later how you move things up and down. So choose a character. Dino Danny, Peggy Peacock, I don't know, something like that. So my notes here, I'm going to have to remember code 1 character to hide when the other character is selected. Alright, so we know we're going to click on something. So when you click your characters in your video game, we don't need the next block. It's going to start the game. Alright, so that's how you remove a background. My next level here, I may not even need the click. If you don't need your click here or start, you'll get rid of them. But now what you got to think about doing is making your key. That's going to start the things that you have drawn on your paper. Now you're going to start finding photos so you can do that. You can also just, if you want, insert, go to image and search web right here in your Google slide. You're like, I'm going to need little candies, so I may be able to find it through here. But the thing is, I'm going to want my candies to have removed background, if that's what I'm collecting. So this is not always the best place. Searching your images, dragging it up to your remove background, and then putting that in there. Oh, that's a good one. I'm not sure if I can use it. So that's a good one. I like that because that could be one of my pieces that I'll use. And I need to be real specific, like red candy, because if I do multiple ones, I need to have that. I may not know how I want to do each one yet, but in my slide here, create my key. I'm going to type in key. Paste my candy. Make it small. And I know I'm going to come back and kind of label this, but what I like with my game here, and if you've got multiple different things, put in all your images first and then come back and label. Like if you're going to do, like in our paper one, with our drawing, we had the thing with the solid walls. You could do a square showing that, how you're going to block out areas. Build up your key with your Google image search and the remove image background. Try to get everything you can on one slide for that. If you need to do another slide, you can. So whatever you've been sketching out on your paper, those things, like in that key, you need to create here. So I probably don't need need this here. So I can get rid of that. And we can name your characters. Do that. Well, think about other information because I'll show you how it's important to have that. Because when we have to lower this just a little. When you build the game here, once you choose your character, you have to think about that. What's going to happen? And well, this one she doesn't have instructions on there. We quickly go back to Miss Dunn's, and I'll show you why you'll have to have instructions. Think about how your character is moving around. All right, because we're going to have to. You should be having notes like that. My character here only goes up and down, but then I have a C whenever it has to fire at stuff. So you have to think about those things here when you're building that. But we're just going to build it for game, like what you have on your drawing on your paper. Start doing that so it's in color. You actually have images of stuff. We'll build up our key. This key is also going to be placed like you're going to have some kind of an enemy or a foe, someone that's not as vicious as an enemy. Then you got to think about what is that going to look like. I got to find an image that represents that. So we're going to work on this on the upcoming days. So this will get you started.